What we're gonna do is, this is Adam and Christina. They're from Flint Water, here at Camp Promise. And when I say Flint Water, what I mean is the poison water that they were poisoned with, and now they're sick. And we're talking about tens of thousands of people around Flint. I am working so hard on fighting big oil that in my own state I haven't had the opportunity to help people like this. And so I'm here now, and hopefully we can interview dozens of people in the next month, and then we can tell a story for them, so that way the masses can see what's really going on in our community, in our state, and in the United States. People are being poisoned, and now they're taking tens of thousands of people, and they're telling them they're going to kick them out of their homes if they don't pay for their poison water. Does that make sense to you? If you don't pay for poison water, we're going to kick you out of your house because you haven't paid your bill. So I'm trying to tell everybody about that, and that's what this video is going to be for. Thank you. Just want to introduce yourself and tell your story.
Yeah, my name is Adam Murphy, my wife Christina. I'm going to have Christina start off with some of the information that we have been fighting to retrieve and prove that this isn't conspiracy, this isn't just some man-made up story that we're really experiencing along with several others throughout our community and the world. But just to bring awareness through our story, and hopefully it would bring some courage in your heart and some hope in your heart that you can share your story and get this out to the world that it's serious. So I'll pass it on to Christina.
Hi. So back in 2015, the summer of 2015, August, my husband was in Connecticut working as a millwright, and our dog got rapidly thinner. It was so bad that you could see the bones in his hips and stuff, and he was running in circles, barking at the sky. There was no squirrels above his head, no birds. He's just barking, and there's something obviously wrong with him. Well, so we took him in, and you worked at Flint Truck and Bus, talked to a guy. He said, because the engine parts corroding, check your water, because the water was corroding their engine parts. So we checked the water, or we started checking the water, but at the same time told the vet that information, and she tested the dog for lead. Well, he ended up coming back with 409 parts per billion. 350 or higher is toxic. He also had a read that was 777 at one time. They treated him with chelation therapy. I want to try to just hit the main parts, because there's a lot of little stories that happened in every story, and so they treated him with chelation therapy, and he's not barking at the sky anymore. He's not 100%, but he is a lot better than he was. So time goes on, and our female dog accidentally got pregnant. We didn't want that to happen, but it was okay. And so we were expecting a young one, and she gave birth to a stillborn that had translucent skin, purple in color, hair missing, and her two previous litters were 6 and 7 puppies, all beautiful, and everyone wanted another one. So at that time, I'm 16 weeks pregnant, and I thought, oh my gosh, my son is probably like that, or maybe we didn't know what it was at the time. My baby was probably looked like that puppy. So that was a horrible day. I screamed really loud and was in shock all day, and then we finally found somebody that took us seriously. It was our primary care physician, and she had an old school, like from the 1980s, some kind of giant microphone thing, and found the heartbeat, and just to put me at ease. Then we had the state come in and do a lead abatement program, and we think that they did that to try to to say that because our house is old, that's why we're poisoned. Well, we got my husband's blood tested, and it's not just lead in his blood, and we don't have all those other things in paint. So back to the pregnancy, as they did the lead abatement program, I was, just had a child, and they gave me 3 days to enjoy time with my newborn, which had, I don't talk about it a lot, but and the doctors didn't talk about it, but his butt was translucent like that puppy. And I mean, yeah, it was purple and I couldn't even look at it. I thought it was gonna fall apart or something, like tissue. So we just fed him and prayed for him, and he's super round and pudgy now, so it worked. But they tested his cord blood the day he was born, but my husband had to threaten them with our lawyer for them to do that. And he came back positive for lead. Well, that same day, the nurse came into my room after I had our son and gave us 2 vials of blood and said, "You're going to want this blood because they're laughing and chuckling in the hallway, and they're saying they're going to pour your blood out and your baby's blood out. So take these home and put them in your freezer." So we did. But why would a nurse say that, And why would she give us our blood? So, that just made it seem more serious. So all of our kids tested positive for the lead. You want to...
So yeah, I mean, basically, from that point, I knew I was having mental problems like confusion. I would be driving to spots that I've drove to on a regular basis, and I used to drive all over the state of Michigan, other states throughout the United States, and working as a millwright. It became very difficult just to go to my parents' house, which was 20 minutes down the road, because I would get lost. When I would park my car at the grocery store and I would go in to just do some typical grocery shopping, it became, not a 45-minute, grocery shopping spree. It turned into 2 to 3 hours, because I would walk out of the grocery store and forget where I parked my car. So a good hour was trying to find out where my car was parked. And then, I started having massive shakes uncontrollably. Just talking through some of the community that they've had seizures, tremors, tics, tooth decay. And I don't sleep in the same bed as my wife, because it's so difficult because of the weakness in my legs and the vertigo and the constant dizzy spells that I get on a regular basis. It became a very challenge for me to get upstairs to my bed, so I sleep on the couch. It's pretty bad when you can't sleep in the same bed as your wife, because you're so sick you can't get up your stairs, or you can't remember where you're going when you're driving your car during the day or during at night. And this is the reality of it. You cannot, some of the other things is you can't just go to a fast food joint, pick up a burger real quick and a soft drink, because I started putting two together. In the millwrights, they talk about the chemical hazards that you could face and what to look for, and that it's very important to understand your surroundings. So I put 2 and 2 together, and I started opening up my CDC book, hazards and chemical hazards, and some of these chemicals that Scott Smith tested in our water. I was going through that book, and it said almost every single one of them said, if you come in contact, consume these, like phosphate or phosphoric acid, the stuff they're using to coat the pipes. The CDC says if you've consumed these, if you bathed in them, if you've got them in your eyes or absorbed them, to contact emergency immediately. I'm not just talking about lead. I'm not just talking about copper. I'm talking about aluminum. I'm talking about manganese. I'm talking about gadolinium. I'm talking about the detailed water report that Scott Smith came out with, ours was like 47 pages long. So when you take that detailed water report and you mix it with the EPA, who's only testing for lead and copper and a couple of bacterias, and the MDEQ only testing for lead and copper because of a 1970 law, when they have the machine that's capable of testing everything on the periodic table, so they're only doing based on a law. They're not doing it because, it becomes very critical because you need a detailed water report to know what you can take this information to your doctor and say, listen, this is what I've been exposed to. I've been to several doctors over and over and over again. And
because of having the detailed water report, we were able to take it to a holistic doctor that our primary care physician finally found. And she was able to give Adam the proper test to find out what's hiding in his bones. And we found that his blood test coordinates with what was found in the water. So that's key evidence that this is not, fake news. This is so real. And the news that is local here, like, I can't even watch it anymore because they're telling people to bathe in this stuff, and unless you have a whole house water filtration system, it will kill you slowly. And even though we stopped drinking it this day we found out, we already drank it for 18 months. So people ask us all the time, well, you don't drink it anymore, you should be fine. Well, no, they have not treated any of us in Flint, and my husband will be probably one of the first, or maybe at least one of the first to ever speak up about finding that chelation therapy that is very common in heavy metal poisoning works, and we used it in our dog, like I said in the beginning. The vet suggested chelation therapy, so my dog got treated before any of us. And we still haven't gotten treatment. Your first treatment date is coming up. Well, the chelation therapy could bring back, the quality of life in people. And they said that I could hug my husband again in as little as a couple months. And I haven't been able to hug my husband without hurting him. And over, 2 years now, since it got real bad, where just a little touch can send him into a shaking frenzy. And it's real hard to live day to day, especially when you're trying to just make the false narratives or the fake news go away, because every time that they put a story out that says go ahead and use your shower, they're killing people. Because a pregnant woman inhales 2 liters of steam when she's in the shower for 10 minutes because she breathes deeper and, for 2. And it's true. And I've read it. I've done all the studying I could do. I lose sleep at night trying to figure out the science behind things, because that's one of the things that I like. So I try to use that to my ability and look at the facts and try to figure it out as a whole. And what they're doing is going on the news and saying, go ahead and use your shower, unfiltered water for your shower. Well, you're still drinking it. So they're literally murdering families right on national television on an almost daily basis. And it's really disgusting. And if we don't wake up as a society and band together and say enough is enough, then my children are going to die, my grandchildren are going to die. It's just going to keep happening until we all get together and speak up. And we don't have to be violent to make people listen. We have to have unity, and put all of our differences aside, no matter what they are, and realize that we all want the same thing, which is love and peace and happiness, and to be able to live our lives in a clean environment. And if the earth is not clean, then we don't exist. I mean, it's simple as that. If we don't have water, you don't survive. Me and my husband and I are living proof of why you do not poison your water. Please learn. If we die, please learn from us. Do not let us die in vain. Do not keep doing the same things and then let our next generation die in vain. It's got to stop right now. There's not going to be an earth left if we just keep... and I don't want to make it sound like that, because people like to play off of using things like earth or recycle, like we're a bunch of... No offense to anybody, but like we're a bunch of tree-loving idiots that don't know what we're talking about, okay? My husband is so sick some nights I think he's going to die. My kids see it, or else I wouldn't say it, because they live it. And it's not something I can hide from them anyways. But, you know, I have an autoimmune problem that I haven't even really gotten treatment yet, because there's fluoride in Enfamil. So I was forced to breastfeed my son our newborn son. Not that I wouldn't have breastfed in the first place, but I need treatment. And so the only milk that we could give him with a guarantee that was safe for him was breast milk, with the guarantee there would be no fluoride in it. Because fluoride that you use in your toothpaste and they put in our water systems acts aggressively with heavy metals. Once it's a neurotoxin, so it goes in your brain and it does some stuff, and then you already got the heavy metals in there, and then it just does this not good thing. It acts aggressively, whatever that means in scientific ways. It doesn't sound good. And our environmental doctor also said that if your infant son has it, he could die. And so we stayed away from any Enfamil. And then as we found out that it's in Enfamil, it's also in Gerber baby food. It's in Myers baby food. It's in anything that is processed with water.
Certain bottled water too.
So all these people that have been poisoned in Flint, I've told news crew after news crew, TV station, we've told them all, you got to tell people about fluoride, because they're going to get sicker. And they won't listen. Even though we have the facts, they just refuse to cover it.
Yeah, I mean, even like we were just at the hospital the other day to have our daughter's ears needed tubes, and we were talking to the nurse, and we had to make sure that she didn't get any fluoride from the water in the hospital, like ice chips or Jell-O, or some of the ice cream, different things. So they had to get with the nutritionist to make sure that wasn't in there. So now they're sending people to the ER, and they're saying, here's some ice chips, but it has fluoride in it.
Yeah.
And that was at Genesis Hospital. So it's not just like take yourself to the hospital, get better, and here's some ice chips, and then it could potentially kill you. So is that really what the hospital is supposed to be there for? I mean, there's filtration systems that take the fluoride out, which we have in our home. And yes, we do pay for our water because we have clean water not because of the state, not because of the city, not because of the water department, but because the filtration system that we have in our home.
But also because of
And
5 children.
and we have 5 children.
We didn't have the filtration system before.
No, we didn't.
And we still had to pay for it because they are threatening to take people's homes now. So where are we supposed to go? I have 5 kids. My husband lost his job. He's disabled now. He can't even sleep in the bed next to me. And then, so what? Are we supposed to go on the street? What family member? Can I come live, at whoever's house with my 3 dogs and my cat and my 5 kids and invade anyone's space at any given moment? No. I have to take care of my family. And they're trying to take people's homes if you don't pay for poison. That's why I don't understand how people aren't being arrested by the masses for lying and going on national television and in front of crowds and saying that you can shower in this stuff that is killing all of us slowly. And it just keeps happening.
Yeah, how many people have died from this water? 15, 18, something like that, from the Legionnaires
Well,
that we know of. Well, that we know of, there's people that have died from the water. People, dogs, animals, fish, people's pets. People are getting put in jail for animal neglect, animal cruelty, child neglect. They go right to jail. Where are these people who are responsible for poisoning a whole city, and why aren't they in jail? Why? That's the question to ask. Why? You have no problem putting somebody, obviously, and it's right, yeah, they should go to jail for neglect and animal cruelty and child neglect and child cruelty, and they should go to jail. But why is the government above the law that they created? How long is it going to take? It's been 3 years. How long is it going to take to put them in jail, to hold them responsible for what they've done? They've taken our life and they've ripped everything away. All of our dreams, all of our livelihoods, my kids' future, our kids' future. And there's no justice because of money. They can hide behind their lawyers and they can pay the money and just keep hiding and keep appealing these motions. How long are you going to keep appealing the motions until somebody dies, some more people die? I mean, there was a guy that just fell over in his yard and he had a heart attack, taking care of his mother.
Well, if you read on the lead, on some of the side effects is this cardiovascular problems. So we've been hearing a lot of people have been having heart problems lately, and they said the doctors say that between the 3 to 5 year mark is when you're going to see people either get better, get worse, or die, and we're in year 3. So by year 4, we're going to really start seeing it. So if we don't get the proper treatment to people by year 4, we're not going to be able, they might not be here to save. And so we're going to continue to work with the doctor, and as we are transparent with our treatment, we will be transparent with our treatment and tell you how it goes, and we're hoping for the best. We're praying that it'll work, and it won't be something like fluke and then he's the only one that it doesn't ever work on. It was something like that, but we're praying. We're going to have faith that it's going to work. The doctor said that he's going to be better, and I'm going to believe him, and we're going to hope for the best as far as that goes. But the thing is like I said, if this doesn't happen soon, people are going to die. There won't be some of us left on year 4 or year 5 to fight for it anymore.
Is there some questions?
Yeah, my name is Joanne Spotted Bear, and we did a drive through the city today, and majority of the homes that we seen were condemned or burned down on abandoned apartments. And is that normal for the city of Flint? Did most people move out? Did they get sick? What happened to them? Where are they at?
Well, some of it started by the auto industry abandoning Flint and kind of left them on their own to it was like a real vibrant city, big in the car industry, and I don't know what else. So the whole bunch of factories and stuff came out basically, and then they polluted the land, and then they left us here to die. I guess, for lack of better words, they left the city to rot in their sludge.
And the funding for those homes, well, people lose their jobs. They have to go outside the city to find a job because the factories here all closed down and moved outside the country. My dad was an iron worker, and he used to work at Chevy in the Hole. And he used to cash his check across the street, go to the bar, have a couple drinks, and go back to work. I mean, he said this place was beautiful. It was booming. It was the place to be. Now, yeah, you see abandoned houses because the money's not here. People move out. They go where the money's going. Some people stay here because maybe they're a lawyer or they're a judge or they're a doctor.
Why are we here?
But why are we here? Because we lost our job, we lost our money, our resources to move.
Well, no.
And no, I mean we did. We did. We were planning on moving, and we couldn't move because I got sick. We needed a bigger space for our family because we have 3 dogs. Our family got bigger, and we were working on our credit, because we both came from dissolved marriages, and so you have to work on your credit, and that's what we were working on. And we were trying to get to a place where we could have a rehabilitation center for animals and have our kids on a farm so that we didn't have to worry about, letting them run around in the streets because there's crime here. It's one of the worst. It was on the worst, number 2.
It was number 2 in crime. It was number 2 in crime. And we didn't want to move far away because Flint, we really love Flint. The city of Flint, one thing that is really awesome about this city is that people that you don't even know care about you more sometimes than your own family, and like they just have this way about them in the city of Flint. And to us personally, we love this town and we wanted to make change happen, but then the water crisis happened. So we wanted to build a skate park at the end of the park, or at the end of our street. Not that we had the money to do it, but somebody wanted to fund it and have Adam help design it and stuff. And, well, then the water crisis happened. So, like, Flint was on its way to igniting its fire again. And then it just got slapped in the face by this water crisis. So now the homes that might have been still here are no longer, they're empty now. And now they're just burning and the land bank's trying to grab it all up. And it seems like they're just trying to bulldoze areas and just have corporates buy it up. And it's like the people that still live here just don't matter.
So I guess in a sense, their money is more important than the lives of the people here in Flint. And we want to change our community, and we want to bring hope to the people of Flint. Again, we want to bring solutions to the table, and instead of just talking like a lot of these town hall meetings, it's a lot of talk but no work. And a lot of money's wasted in those talks because these people get paid to talk and get paid to have meetings in churches. And if we, the people who are living in this mess day in and day out, can't have a voice, and the fear mongers up at the front tables are arresting the sick because they don't like hearing the facts and what somebody's going through that day, this is a place that we can come and share our story and make things happen. This place, Camp Promise, is a place where we, as a community, coming together and making changes. We can get the chelation here. We can get the doctors that need to be here. We can get the medicine that needs to be given to the residents so they can get better and thrive again. If we work together, we can make it happen.
I was going to ask, how do you feel about the Camp Promise? I mean, this must be a brand new thing for you to have a camp in your backyard.
Oh, I come here and I feel like all the chaos in my life at home is gone. I feel at peace. I feel this peaceful presence. I feel hope again. I feel like we're not in this alone. That, yeah, I can bring my tent down here and I can camp in the park that, I used to fear coming out to. And And I've heard other people talk about it, you know, that've lived here 30, 40 years, and they've seen change just in the, you know, a month that you guys been here. You know, that people are starting to use the park more. You know, people are starting to come out of the woodworks and share their stories because they feel comfortable. They don't feel threatened. So I guess that says a lot, you know.
All walks of life welcome.
Yeah, all walks of life are welcome, and yeah, we're gonna have our differences, but we just push past all that, and we have one common goal: we need clean water, we need health care, proper health care, and we need to get better, and we need to keep continuing this fight. Other cities across the nation and our world. I mean, I just had a lady the other day, and I'll say it again because she texted us on Facebook, and she said back in 2001 there was a gas leak in their municipal water supply. Well, the government covered it up, and they're now just in 2017 changing their pipes out, and they have gas in their water, and their kids have cancer, and their grandkids have cancer, and the parents have cancer, and you know. But it took till 2017 to change some pipes, and there's still brown water, oil-filled, gasoline-filled water coming through their faucets where they got to bathe their children, bathe themselves. You know, it's sick. It's really, really sick. So we need to stop this nonsense. We need to stop these big, huge corporations from trying to profit off the victims and the vulnerable people, because it's right. It's the right thing to do. We're not politicians. We're not running for any office, council. We're just normal people, just like anybody, just trying to help our community and bring change. And we don't get paid. So you can take that one and throw it out the window. We don't get paid to do this.
I don't know why you said that. Nobody was saying that.
Because some people said it.
But I could tell you, well,
Arthur Woodson said we get paid from Melissa Mays. It never happened.
oh, well.
Just had to make sure that.
Even when you're a sick, poisoned family, you still get attacked for doing the right thing, and that's not going to stop us. The reason why it's so important is, to me, and I don't think that it's less important because you didn't mention it, but the most important reason is that we have a future, that future generation, our 5 children and all their friends and all these children around us deserve to not have to go through this. And they deserve to be able, when they have their babies and their own lives, to be able to feel like they could turn on their tap and not get poisoned. And